My name is David Rayburn Haynes. I am the current featured artist at the Gold Beach Public Library, or excuse me, the Curry Public Library here in Gold Beach, Oregon. This exhibit, in fact, all of the exhibits here at the library are on the second floor of the library in the gallery area, and they run typically for 3 months at a time. This particular showing is started in July and will end at the end of September. If you can't visit the library in person, the entire exhibit is displayed on my website. That is drhaynes.com, drhaynes.com. The pictures on the walls here look a lot better in person than they do on the web. That's going to be true of any artist's work. So, let's see, a little bit of history. I have been an artist all of my life, majored in art through college, and when I was around 30 years old, I got tired of being perpetually poor. And I had some friends that were in the semiconductor industry, and they suggested I go back to school and get the education needed to get into the semiconductor industry. So I did that. And it was the best thing I've ever done. I continued, of course, to do artwork on the side, but I was then a full-time employee for the next 33 years in the same job. And I continually keep thinking, as most artists I'm sure do, that at some point the skies will open up and I will become a famous, well-known artist with everyone wanting my work. Hasn't happened yet, but I keep hoping. My work falls into three main categories. I have traditional media, which is your typical paintings and drawings with oils and acrylics and pencils and so forth. I have photography, which is the minimum modification. I do use a digital camera, but I do minimal modification afterwards. And then I do the ones that you're going to be able to see as we go through them here today. This is my current artwork method. And the short version of the technique is that I start with a photograph. I do extensive modifications in Photoshop, and in fact, typically it takes a minimum of 25 working hours to well over 150 working hours until I'm satisfied with that. Then I print it always on canvas, and then I mount that canvas on gator board, and I do additional work on top of it using a variety of media, and then finish it off with acrylic gel mediums and varnishes to add textures and so forth. That's the basic rundown of how we get to what you see behind us. If anyone has any questions?
Do you want to walk through, maybe just give us a brief description of each one?
Sure. Sure.
We'll start over here at the far left.
So you have the surfer up now?
Surfer's up.
This is called Surfing at Battle Rock. It started with a photograph I took when I was in Port Orford, and Battle Rock is right over here. And then, as I explained, I did extensive modifications in Photoshop and printed it, and then did some additional work on top of that, and then added the texturing and so forth.
So in this instance, one of the things in Photoshop, are you pumping the contrast or saturation?
Absolutely. It's saturation of the colors, contrast, all of the techniques that are used to make the picture have punch.
Yeah.
And then I also use various filters. I don't want to go into too much detail on the filters, primarily because, as far as I can tell, I'm the only person that's using these particular techniques. Sure. And I'd like that to continue for at least for a while.
Yeah. I was just curious if you were, like, because of the vibrance of all of these, I was curious if you were just, like kind of pumping contrast, making photos pump,
Right.
Making them punch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks good. Cool.
And that usually ends up, I have typically between 20 and 100 Photoshop layers that are used to build up all of the contrast and the saturations and the details that I do and so forth. And that's the work in Photoshop. That's basically it on those. A lot of it takes many hours to get the details right. I'm extremely detail oriented, and if it isn't right, I am not satisfied. So I work and work and work. I can work and work and work on a small two or three square inch area until I'm satisfied with it. So.
Sure. Yeah, I have a question about it, but I think we'll get through these before it'll kind of pertain to all of the people.
Okay.
So, okay, let's move to the next one here.
This is called Kissing Rock Beach Walk number 2, and the reason it's number 2 is I did, I believe, 7 different paintings of this particular walk that I took on for the Kissing Rock here in Gold Beach. And so there's Kissing Rock right there. This was right after a storm that had come through, and it had produced waves up to 30 feet high. And that exposed a bunch of rocks on the beach, and it was an extremely dramatic sky. So, and again, the same basic technique, extensive manipulation in Photoshop, followed by printing and additional work on top of it.
Very cool. We have a couple joints here in a minute. But let's move to this one. Okay, let me frame it a little better. Okay, there you go.
Okay, this is Astoria Megler Bridge at sunset. Again, it is the bridge that goes across the Columbia River from Astoria to Megler, Astoria, Oregon to Megler, Washington. And I did a series of this bridge. This is the sunset version. I've got a sunrise version and so forth.
Cool. That's Jeremy's favorite one, by the way. Our director. He's driven that bridge quite a few times.
Yeah, it's highly photographable.
Uh-huh. Very cool. Okay. Let's talk about this next one.
This is the beach at Port Orford. Redfish rocks in the background. And again, extensive work in Photoshop, and then some more work on top of it after I printed it. One thing that I really like about this one is the colors that I was able to get. I worked on trying to get the sky and the water, the blue in the sky and the water to be that color for a long time. It was really difficult to get it to come out that way, particularly on the print. I could get it to look right on the screen, but the print just didn't want to do it, but I finally got it.
Interesting. Did you have to print it multiple times in order to...
I did. In fact, I typically, in order to save canvas, because I'm printing on the canvas and it's expensive,
right?
I will crop the picture down to a very narrow slice.
I see.
I might chop it down to a slice like that,
Yeah.
and then press just that thin slice. And go through, change the colors and saturation or whatever is necessary. Print it again until I'm finally satisfied with it, and then I'll print the full picture.
Cool. Okay.
So this is a blue umbrella from the top. I also have a version that's the same umbrella from the bottom, from underneath. And this was an umbrella that I found in a used, it wasn't really an antique shop, but it was used items that were very interesting. And this was down in the town of Morgan Hill, California. And so I got a number of good photographs of that one, and just I like the composition and the colors and stuff enough that I continued to work on it and came out with this.
Sure. Yeah. I like the bubbling effect on there.
Yeah, the bubbling effect is partially done with filters. And then after that, I have to go through and manually work on it for quite a bit in order to get it to really look like it's 3D.
After it's printed on canvas?
No, actually before I print it.
Okay.
The bubbling effect is, well, okay. The bubbling effect, the initial bubbling effect is done in Photoshop, and it's an optical illusion.
Okay.
Then after it's printed, I go back with I told you that I use the gels and the varnishes and stuff like that, and I mix them to various consistencies that'll work right, and then I apply it on top with whatever tool will work, and in this case it was going to be an eyedropper and a squeeze bottle, so I could get drops and put them in the place that I wanted them, and that will build up the real 3D texture on top of the optical illusion.
Cool. That's very cool.
This I call Long Tree Shadows. It's one of my traditional media paintings. This was acrylic with colored pencil and chalk on top of that.
And if you see these in person, they're very saturated. These three pink pieces are very saturated. They have to be seen in person. You just can't imagine how long it took you to that saturation level with colored pencils.
Right, and for anyone viewing them online on your computer, whether you're viewing them through this Zoom meeting or through my website, I have no control over what the colors are going to look like on your screen.
Right.
I do the best I can. To make them look good on my screen, and including using the software that's gonna make my colors look correct. But on anyone else's screen, I have no control. So I'm hoping that they're looking at it and seeing what it really looks like.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. It's just the saturation level. This is the most colorful and bright display we've had yet, which is pretty cool. Okay, let's look at the Shorebird.
Okay. Again, another traditional media. This one was graphite pencil and colored pencil on some illustration paper, some brown illustration paper. And then again, once I printed it onto canvas. Everything is on canvas, by the way. I don't print on paper. I tried that and couldn't find a paper that gave me the textures that I wanted or the reworkability of quite often, as I started to rework things, the paper would start dissolving on me. So canvas is the only thing I print on now. This is called Embryonic Journey. The embryo highly stylized. This was entirely done in colored pencil, and it took months of painstaking work to get the blending done correctly.
How many hours do you estimate was on that particular piece?
Oh boy, hundreds for sure. It literally, I worked on it almost every day for months because it was so detailed and the blending. Colored pencils, you have to have a very light touch. If you want to blend, like for instance, I'm going from a very saturated yellow here to a paler yellow as I go out.
Right.
And that is not done with any mixing technique on it. It's all done just by having a very light touch on the pencil. And it takes forever. I used to have patience.
You do. All right, these are some of these next couple. Okay.
Are we doing the two at once now?
You can, yeah. Okay. In frame.
These are two different paintings on the theme of thistles. This one's called Thistles at Noon, and they are dried thistles in the late summer. They've been baked dry, and it takes quite a bit of time, again, in Photoshop, to find a way to get the initial picture itself, still with the thistles themselves, that's already there. But getting the background and the blending and so forth, that takes a lot of time in Photoshop.
Yeah.
And then the next one over is Thistles at Sunrise. These are new thistles, just blooming, and lit by the sunrise.
Very cool. A couple more, and then I have a big question.
It's called Sunlit Goldfish. A friend of mine had a goldfish tank in a window, and the sun was shining through the goldfish as they swam by, and that resulted in this.
That's it. It's cool to see where you're, found, something you're observing, and like, I should take a look at that. Yeah, really cool translucency. Thank you.
And then this is the last one in this show. It's called Under the Golden Gate #3. Again, numbered because I have a series of pictures that were from underneath the Golden Gate Bridge. Remember, a few years ago, my wife and I and her daughter and their family took a tour of the SS Jeremiah O'Brien, which is one of the Liberty ships of World War II, docked in San Francisco, in the marina in San Francisco. And one of the things that happens when you're on the tour is they take the boat out, the ship out, and they go around the bay and then out underneath the Golden Gate Bridge and then back in underneath the Golden Gate Bridge. So I was able to get a whole bunch of really cool photographs of that.
Good. Anybody have any questions? If you do, go ahead and type them into the chat for us, and I can read them out to you, and you can answer those. One of the ones that I have, after seeing in person, you'll notice that most of the pieces have textures in the background. And my question to you is, what decided the texture? Was it the object in the photos that gave you the idea for the textures? Like, the photos make total sense to me. Like the linear lines and like the hard kind of sharp shapes of the texture. And then on the umbrella, like the more rounded bubble effects, and because they have a similar kind of effect. I'm just curious if there was was it something that you have in your head based on the objects that you're painting or have taken photos of, or is it something that comes through of different filters that you're applying?
Well, it is a combination of both. Typically, like for instance, with the thistles at sunrise with all the lines going through, that was something that I had a picture in my head of how I wanted it to come out, and then I had to work to experiment until I could get it.
So you kind of had a concept initially that you're like, ooh, it'd be really nice to have these lines or effects as well.
The thistles themselves have all these pointy things coming out of the place.
Yeah, exactly.
And I wanted to continue.
Yeah, and when I saw that, it made total sense. It was like, oh, I completely get that your reasoning for the texture of this. But I was just curious because they all have kind of unique textures. Yeah. It's really cool.
And again, it is almost all cases. I have something in mind, and I have to experiment until I can reach something that satisfies me, that gets me to the point that's close enough to what I had in mind.
Sure.
Now, with
that's very smooth.
Yeah, with the traditional one, it was, I was just tripping.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, they're really, really cool. Oh, they want to know what they use print on.
I print on canvas. I have a 24-inch Canon printer, and I get rolls of canvas. Mule is the brand that I purchase, and I use various canvases depending upon what's available and what I'm trying to print. The Mule, again, is the brand that I use, and I tried a number of brands, and it was the best, and so I'm sticking with it. It's a little more expensive, but I really like it.
That seems to be the case typically.
Yeah.
Get what you pay for.
Yeah. And I can usually get for the rolls come in at 39 feet long by 24 inches wide, and I can typically get between 8 and 10 final pictures out of a roll. I would say probably well over half of a roll is it's used up trying to get the picture to look right on the print. Remember I explained that I'd take a strip, I would cross down to a strip and keep printing that and working on the colors and the contrast and so forth until I got what I wanted.
Yeah.
Typically that's roughly a half or maybe more of the roll is used up in that process.
And that's not on a particular print, but that's across the entire roll.
Right, exactly. That's across the entire roll.
Right.
So I would end up with typically between 8 and 10 of these finished pictures per roll.
Gotcha. Which also means you had a series of trials through the
many trials, many errors. Yes.
Yeah. Wow, that's very cool. Really see the bubble texture there on the umbrella. Nice. And this one, like
you can bring it in a little bit on the side. I don't know if people can see that online or not, but I think that would the 3D effect. Really, really nice.
You can definitely see it. And out of these, if you hit it on the side a little glare, you can see that it looks like there's some actual texturing going on. Yeah, especially that one there closest to us.
It's hard to see in an online environment, but
Yeah, but that one too. They all, I mean, most all of these have it. But yeah, they're very, very cool. Let me look at you real quick. Just want to check and see if there's any other big things we missed on our questions.
so,
Got the big point. Any other questions? Maybe do you have any questions for David? That we can answer for you. Deborah and.
I don't have any.
Go ahead.
I don't have any questions. I was really just curious on the technique, and it's beautiful.
well, thank
And I can't wait to go see it.
Good, yeah. Please come in and see it in person. The exhibit here through September.
Excellent.
Yeah. So come check it out. It's very usually secluded up here. Not a bunch of people. You're gonna bump into a bunch of people with art. So come on in, take a look. Is that what you were looking for, Deborah? Deborah says they're an 18-hour drive away, but she loves it. It looks nice. Thanks for stopping in, Deborah. That was, yeah, it means a lot to us. Okay. Anything else, David? Last, where can they find it on your website?
They can find it on my website.
Oh, it's backwards because it's inverted to the camera.
It's inverted.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah.
It is the website again for those that are interested in going and checking it out on the web. It is drhaynes.com. That's drhaynes.com, and they will see all of the paintings that are in this show, plus a whole ton of other material. I've got material that goes back many years.
Deborah, how large is your printer again?
24 inches wide.
Hi, David.
Hi. I know Deborah. I know that's my sister.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for stopping by, everybody. Thank you, David, for giving us your talk and insight on all of your pieces. We're really happy to have these here for our time. And yeah.
And thank you all for attending. And I want to especially thank the Curry Public Library and all of the people that work here for all of the support you guys have given me. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.